So check it out. I was enjoying the music, but I was like, let's go. Let's go. We're 13 days in this year, and we got some big goals to reach. And let me tell you something. I'm excited for a lot of different reasons, right? This year feels different, right? I feel like I got a 45-watt amp on my Samsung phone, and it only needs 10, so I'm overloading my phone. But it just I just feel fired up, because there's a few times in your life, in your market, whether it's real estate or whatever, where things start lining up. And when you take that spark and you roll that fire, right, and you go after it, the results it's just magnetic. And this happened to me back in 2012, the first time I got to meet Jay Kinder. And I got to tell a story that Jay probably doesn't know. But I went to see this National Association of Expert Advisors, and I went to an event, and I didn't pay for the ticket. Actually, a good friend of mine was going to that event. This represented some of the top agents and brokers of the country, and I didn't feel like one yet. But he's like, "Dude, come anyway. Just come on. It's gonna be awesome." And I got to see Jay on stage, and I was like, "I've never seen anything like this." I didn't know that these things were possible. I didn't know that when people won in real estate, because all I knew was my little rinky-dinky brokerage and the results that they did in the house, but I didn't see what the world was doing. And it opened my eyes to what was possible. And it was the right information at the right time. And I feel like 2025 is 2012 for me again. Right. The opportunities happening. My mind is open. We got incredible people around us, and we just can't help but winning if we take the right action. And sometimes the actions that you've got to take are not that hard, right? They're just stuff that you got to do consistently. I mean, I always say consistency is boring, but results are sexy, right? So just being consistent about the times you spend in your business. And why do we do that? For our families, for our freedom. And, Jay Kinder lit that fire for me. And guys like Brent Gove and other guys who came in on stage that day. I remember Haas Pratt coming on stage, and I was like, wow, like this is possible, right? And we invited Jay Kinder to come in. He's part of our organization. He's one of the leaders in the organization. That if he wasn't here, none of us would be here probably. Because I'll be honest with you, when people heard that Jay Kinder made this move and came into EXP, it was like, wait a minute. If he's doing that, I got to look at this. I got to keep one eye open. And thank God I did, because my family has never been the same as a result of being in alignment with some people like you guys and Jay Kinder at the helm. So I'm super excited for some of you guys who guys are meeting for the first time. So I want you to meet him through my story, because he's changed my life. Put Jay Kinder up on the screen, man. Let's get this guy going. He's got to be going with the fundamentals of building a monster organization. We don't have any time for any silliness of ones and twos and threes. I want to see you guys grow big, exponentially. So, Franny, if we can bring Jay Kinder up on the screen, and let's give him a big round of applause, because this guy is the monster. Like he's done everything. I mean, yeah, he's got the accolades. Yeah, he was a number 2 agent when he was a young man selling for some company, some global company, big company, right? And he was crushing it back then in Texas and small towns and stuff like that. It was Ohio. Were you Texas, Ohio?
I was Oklahoma, then Texas. Yeah.
Oklahoma. Okay, Oklahoma, like small
Even worse,
towns.
even smaller.
Yeah, just going out there and crushing it, doing what he had to do with what the skills that he had and the tools that he had, and just putting it in overpowerment. And just watching that gave me freedom. It really did. Because to be honest with you, back then, man, I was like doing 10, 15 deals. And, I was doing that whole like, I'm broke this month. I'm rich this month. I'm broke this month. I'm rich this month. Right. And just there was no destination that was going to end for me that ended with something of prosperity. Right. But when I saw that people going on stage and winning these Honey Badger awards and just saying, hey man, here's the script, right? Like Tom Cruise gets paid hundreds of millions of dollars to read a damn script. Read the script. And I watch guys just read the script on stage and just take it. So what I realized is if you duplicate amazing people, you get the same results. So I want you to have that in your head. Today we're going to duplicate amazing people so we can get the same amazing results for our family as well. So Jay, the floor is yours. We're super excited, man.
I appreciate it. It's funny. My story is very similar to that. I'll never forget the very first event that I went to. It wasn't the first event because I went to like little events that were close by where I lived in Oklahoma. I had never like traveled very far at this time. I was very young, probably 21, 20. And I went to a Craig Proctor event, and I was sitting next to a guy. The whole time I was sitting next to him, I had no idea he was producing a ton. And there's all these people on stage, and they're all doing a ton of business and kind of mind blowing. And this guy gets up to the mic and says, "Yeah, last year I sold 400 and something houses." And I was like, "What? Like what?" And it just, I was like, there was success all around me. And it's just like, once we say it at EXP all the time, once you see it, you can and see it. But if this guy can do it, and there was just so much evidence of all of these people have done this, and it's doable, right? And so there's got to be a way,
Right.
clearly. And it gave me hope, it gave me belief, and I couldn't go back to thinking small after that, because I knew that they weren't probably working harder than me, but they had figured something out that I didn't know. And I learned, that was a big aha moment for me, was when I hired the coach. At the end they pitched it was like $12,000. It was more money than I could ever possibly dreamed at that time. I couldn't even imagine. To
Dude,
me, that was more
houses were
than
like
like,
100 grand back
yeah, dude. I
then.
mean,
Our
it was more
commission
than my
checks,
house payment.
our
Coaching, it
commission
was
checks were like
$12,000.
$2,500.
And I was like, I looked at the guy on the other side of me. His name was Steve Garten. I'll never forget. I was like, are they out? Is this Canadian? What are we doing here? Like, are you kidding? And then at the end, I'm signing up 2 credit cards because I couldn't even put the down payment on one. And and I went back and I coached with a guy named Frank DeMarinis, and he made me follow the script, and he had me pin up this script on the wall. And I was supposed to use this script and calling these leads. And I remember the coaching call. I told him, I said, "Man, it's not working. You heard this before. These leads suck," right? And he said, "You're not following the script." He made me record my calls. Now, if you ask me, I was following the script to the T. In my mind, I was.
Right.
We played it, and I said, "See, I told you." And he said, "No, you didn't follow the script. You changed this and you changed that." And he kind of gave me the reason why you don't do that. And so, I'm like, he's like, "Go back, follow the script, don't change it, don't make it your own. Just do exactly what I tell you to do." Okay, I'll do it. Didn't think it was going to change anything. The next week, I set tons of appointments, and in that moment, I remember going, "Wow, I just was this close to missing, like, just not being a good enough student." And I would have said it didn't work, and I would have probably had a different path, because my experience would have been I paid all this money and it didn't work, right? That would have been my story. But because he made me, listen to the call and realize that I wasn't following the script, I realized, man, I'm just not being a good enough student. I call it being a good copycat. And so, yeah, that was a life-changing moment for me, because I realized that most of the time, if I wasn't getting the results, and somebody that was telling me this is the results they're getting and I'm not getting it, it's something I'm doing wrong, right? It's probably me, or something I missed, or something you should be, something I got to tweak in order to get the results. And so for me, I became a better student of duplicating what works, right? That was a big get for me. And so, I think anytime you see someone that's when you see greatness, try to mimic as best you can what it is they're doing. And if you're really a good student, you will get the same or very similar results. And that's what happened for me. And it's happened to me so many times that my go-to move is to find whoever is doing the best at what I'm trying to do, and really learn from those people. And that's the reason that we're successful here at EXP, is we looked at who are the best in the world at this, and we copied them. We literally, it's called modeling success. Jay Abraham used to get mad at me when he says, "You're devaluing it by calling it being a copycatter." I was like, "Okay, fine. We're modeling success then." But that is the principle of finding success. It's the shortcut, right? We all tend to over entrepreneur things and try very hard to make it our own. And that's where usually mistakes are made and you don't get the results.
You know what's funny, Jay? And I don't want to take away from what you're saying right there, but like I've done so many try to do the shortcut, and how crazy it is that I would think it's like, okay, this person's doing this behavior, right? And they're killing it. I'm not getting that behavior, but whatever my ego is telling me, I'm gonna make it my own. I'm going to
Mm,
lessen. I'm going to diminish the greatness of this person I'm supposed to be copying, right? I'm supposed to be duplicating, and I'm going to make it my own. Like what stupidity I had in the past, right? Like what kind of ego would you
right,
have to say, like, okay, here's the successful. I'm going to put my own spin on it based
right,
on my failures that I've had all this time, right? Like all I've
yep,
done was like ruin opportunities on phone calls. I mean, I was so bad at the beginning, I would hang up on myself, Jay. Like literally, I was like, oh, that was really bad. And I would click on the back when you had to press the button to click. Like I was terrible, right? So when I finally surrendered for success, right, which is what was my mindset. Like I had to surrender for success. And I hope that you guys understand that, because the blueprint you're getting right now, the things that we're working on right now for duplication, requires you to surrender, because whatever you've done, haven't been, I mean, you haven't got the results that Jay has gotten, right? So I want you to say, so you know what? I'm just going to play with this. I'm going to say, you know what? I'm going to allow my ego to get out of the way. And I'm just going to do the goddamn wealth chart. I'm going to go out there and recruit. I'm going to go out there and take my listings. I'm going to say the damn script and then see what works. But I'm going to do it 100%, not 90, not 95, not 97, not even 99 and a half. Surrender your success to go in there and do it. All right, Jake.
Yeah, man. The key to, we've done this presentation multiple times, and I'll share with you guys the new wealth chart. I know that's kind of part of the topic here today. It's all mindset, right? It starts with mindset, and then, making the list. And these are all things that we did when we first joined. And I'm telling you, everybody skips this step. When I get to, I think it was my 4th year, and we had a huge organization already at this point, and they put a bunch of the leaders up on stage at EXP and asked a bunch of different questions. And one of the questions was, if you could go back, what's the one thing you would have done, you would have done differently? And we all said the same thing. We would have focused more on making our list. Like, it's such a remedial task. You're like, oh, okay, I'm going to go through all the people that I know, and I'm going to make this list of people. And, and then you get busy and you don't do it, and you skip that step. And I'm telling you, it's the biggest step in the entire process. Who are the people that you know? There's 2 types of people that you know and that you've met, and people that you haven't met. And so the easiest people to recruit are the people that are in your phone, the people that follow you on Facebook, the people that follow you on Instagram, the people, the real estate agents you've done deals with, you've been to events to. Like, there's a large list of people. For most people, you can come up with 25, 50, 100 people. And that was the biggest mistake, that even the most successful people said, I would have spent more time on reaching out to the people that I knew, because those people did end up joining. And it happened to me, and it happens to everybody, is people that you think would never join end up joining, and you never even call them. In fact, I looked, they just came out with an agent attraction leaderboard, right? I don't know if you guys saw the email that just came out. And so they got a little leaderboard for agent attraction. The number 1 guy so far year to date is a guy named Justin Kilisek. I never called Justin Kilisek. He was at my very first conference me and Michael ever did, and I never called him. I hadn't stayed in touch with this guy. I hadn't probably talked to him in 15 years, but he joined, right? Like, if I had really gone through and made my list, this is a guy that paid us money for a few years time, and I just never even called him. And here he is at EXP. And, again, that's just more evidence that I didn't do a good job of what I should have, what I'm telling you. That's one of the most important steps. And, going back to the script, the pin up on the wall script, there's little things that are sometimes it seem insignificant. Like when we do NAEA and you go through the training and we got this big placemat, I learned through Dan Kennedy that, and one of my other mentors, which was Harold Ware, we called him HOA, Harold's old ass. He was brilliant, but he's like, you don't want to be the same, you want to be different. And so this placemat, which didn't fit into anything, it doesn't fit into your briefcase, it doesn't fit into your, it's awkwardly large, and no one else uses anything like it. Everybody wants to use a PowerPoint or this, that, or the other to present. And he's like, no, you want something that's different. If you want to be seen as different, you have to be different. And it was a little nuance, these little nuanced things that if you don't understand the principle as to why it is the way it is, you kind of think, well, that's not important, I'm just not going to do that part. But there's a lot of thought that goes into why some things work. And so, I try to always teach the principles. And so the wealth chart is a big piece of the puzzle. If you have to look, and originally it was just a little piece of paper that was a wealth chart, but every day I had to walk by it and look at it every day. And this, everybody's kind of in the same place. I make my money selling real estate, and this is where my income is coming from, but I want this thing over here that's passive income, right? And you got to kind of cross this bridge. Well, what happens is when you don't have something that's out every single day on paper in front of you, that is reminding you of the thing that you should be doing daily, that's going to lead you to more passive income and really more time freedom and ultimately more wealth, is the daily thing you need to do, as it relates to agent attraction. So the wealth chart is there is a constant daily reminder. And now, we printed these things up. I have to pick mine up at FedEx. We just came out with the new wealth chart 2.0. And we just made a few little modifications and made it a little bit more usable and last a little bit longer. Because once you get to a certain point, it's full. Mine was full. So redid the wealth chart. But having it printed up, and, it might cost $50 at FedEx to do this, but to print it, but you can't not look at it. It's in your face every day. It's so awkwardly large, but there's a reason for that, because, how many of you get off this call and you're excited about it. You want to do agent attraction, yet a day goes by, you didn't do anything. The next day goes by, you didn't do anything. Unless you open up or go back and listen to this call, there's not going to be something there to remind you every daily of why your focus should be on agent attraction. And so these are some of the little things. And you know, when you go through the agent attraction training that we created, you know, you might be like, that's not that important. Yeah, it is important. It's super important. It's one of the most important things. And the reason we ask people to post this in the Honey Badger group every month for accountability is for a couple of reasons. Number one, to keep you accountable. But number two, when I see people posting, you know, an image of their updated wealth chart every single month, those are the people that I know to look for to try to help, right? I know that, hey, you're working on this, you're doing this. And, you know, the other way that I see, you know, as I've grown, you know, the organization, the people that I see in my calendar are doing three-way calls. Like if you have an organization size, and we've kind of broken down, and let me share this with you guys real quick. So I got to pull this up. So I did this. I created the 8 stages of real estate over years of meeting agents at different stages of the business where they get stuck, right? And the 8 stages served as a really great kind of visual of, you know, not really a roadmap, but if you're stuck at a certain stage of production, there's a certain, usually one thing, sometimes 2 things that have to happen to break through to the next level. And then you get stuck again. This is unfortunately, the process is you're going to be stuck. You're going to get stuck at every level until you solve these problems, but you identify new problems and you solve the new problems as you grow. Well, it's the same thing in agent attraction. And so I broke this down. Let me find it. I got lots of things open on my computer here. All right.
Sounds like my computer just it's like I've got this thing. I save everything and I put it all on my desktop.
Dude, yeah.
Like
I try to organize everything as best I can, but every once in a while it gets away from me. So, all right, I'm gonna share this with you guys. So, with agent attraction, let me see. Oh, I gotta open it first before it will show up. I spent a good amount of time just trying to identify, you know, what are the stages and what are the things you have to do to break through to the next stage, right? So if you are in stage 1 or 2, meaning group size of less than 25 people, it's all about inviting. It's all about inviting. And so the training that we do, and this is all in the agent attraction training. You can go to honeybadgernation.com and you can go through the agent attraction training. It doesn't change as much. Every time I go through it, I'm like, oh, I'm going to change it. I'm going to make it better. I'm like, man, this is absolutely still the same process. It hasn't changed. It's still all about inviting. And to get to 25, you got to become a great inviter. And that's a skill set. It's learning the script. It's learning how to talk to people, how to invite, how to get them excited, enthusiasm. And once you get to 25, really stage 3 at about 50 people in your group, and this is a mindset shift that a lot of people miss. You still think it's about recruiting for you, and it's not. It's about finding the 3 to 5 leaders in your group that are focused on agent attraction or have the capability to focus on it and be really good at it, and helping them follow the process, the duplicatable process of inviting. And so we get to a certain point, it's like, oh man, I want to recruit more agents, but I don't have that many people. If you got 50 people, those are 50 people with should have a list of 50 people that they know. Whether you can recruit through people as opposed to just recruiting any random person that you may talk to. So like if you focus on the 50 people in your organization and who are the people that they have and you can help them recruit, that's how you start to get multiplication. That's when things start to multiply. In the very beginning, the hardest thing is getting to 50. And like I've always said, it's like if you can get to 50, you can get to 500. If you can get to 500, you can get to 5,000. But 50 is the hardest number in my opinion to get to, because the first 50 is a lot of the work you're doing. From 50 to 500, it becomes the work that other people are doing. And that's the leverage in this model is if you've got 10 people out there that recruited one person, then you didn't have to talk to all those people. Now your organization is growing and you're leading leaders to lead leaders. And really that's the shift that has to happen is at 50, if you can get to 50, but getting to 50 is all about making your list and inviting. It's inviting to live events, inviting to a live presentation, inviting to watch a video. That's it. And anybody can get good at that, right? You don't have to have a super high skill set in order to invite. You're just inviting. And now what we're inviting to is a webinar where you can leverage our $50,000 a month marketing and implementation team to double your business in the next 12 months. Now your offer isn't just, hey, let me invite you to find out about EXP. It's an offer that has a lot more, a differentiated value proposition. So now we're improving upon our offer so that you're going to have a higher percentage of people that are interested to take a look. Most people, everybody wants to go from their A to their B. Nobody wants to change brokerages. Nobody, very few, small percentage of people are frustrated where they're at and they're thinking about leaving. Those are easier to get, but that's not the most people. Most people don't realize that they can make the shift and come over and partner with us at EXP, and we're actually going to help them grow their business. If you can connect the dots, which is you don't have to be able to say anything other than get them excited enough, send them a link to watch the video. And then the key after that is teeing up the three-way call. And this is probably the second most missed piece of the process is you get somebody to watch something and now you start, you start spewing EXP all over everybody. And that's not the goal. The goal is to get them on a three-way call with one of your senior partners in your organization. And the reason we do that is because it doesn't feel like you're being sold. If I start telling you about EXP, now you feel like you're being sold by me. Now, okay, you just want to recruit me. If I say, hey, if I could get you on a call with one of my senior partners, would you be open to it? And then the magic behind this is they will tell the person, they would never tell you, but they'll tell the person that you put them on a call with everything about their business, what they're struggling with. And we are able to connect the dots. They don't see that I'm going to win if we recruit you too. They don't feel like they're being recruited. They never feel like they're being recruited. And it's half the time when I'm recruiting someone on that call and I say, you're actually in the process right now of how we recruit, which is you got put on this call with me. I'm trying to help you grow your business. You probably don't feel like you're being recruited, do you? And they say, well, no, I don't. I said, well, that's how we recruit. But that's the process. You want to leverage your upline and your senior partners to help you recruit these people over. And once you pick up on this, the measure of success for you at 50 or above is going to be how many three-way calls you did that week and how many three-way calls you got your people to do with you and maybe one other senior partner. That's where the leverage comes in. And I always tell the story. I did 999. I looked in my calendar thing. It was scheduled once was what I don't know if it was the limit, like it hit a number, it was limited, but it said 999. So I must have done 999. That's just the ones that were scheduled. That was my first year. And the organizations that grew to 1,000 are the people that I saw on my calendar the most. 100% every week without fail. Also the same people that shared their wealth chart every single month. At the end of the month, they were the ones that were consistently following the process, all built organizations to 1,000. Whereas, other people I would get on calls and they'd be like, man, I really want to do this agent attraction thing. Well, what should I do? Go through the agent attraction training, follow the process. And I'll know if you do, because you'll be on three-way calls. I'll see you in my calendar. That was the true measure of success. So looking back on what again, take the outliers out. Okay, let's take out you got a huge YouTube channel or you got a huge following on Instagram, and look at the agents that didn't have a big following but are making $500,000 or more in revenue share and have organizations of 1,000 plus that are growing. They understood. They first made their list. They first invited. They leveraged their senior partners for a three-way call. Then they got 2 to 3 other people in their organization doing the exact same thing. And that's how they built to 1,000. And that's really that's the system. It's really that simple. And, there's not a lot of complexity to it. And I think that's why people tend to go off and try to, over entrepreneur it. But this 8 stages kind of gives you the keys to the kingdom for what you have to be focused on, the key activities you should be focused on, what your goals should be, what the pain points you probably are experiencing at each stage, and the things you should avoid if you want to get to the next level. So this is, I'll send this to you guys so you have it here in a second. Let me unshare that real quick. And so the new wealth chart, you got nobody, this has only been seen on like 2 webinars in the last week. So nobody has this, in their hands just yet. So you guys are getting a sneak peek of the latest and greatest. So here is the new wealth chart. Okay. So And I'll just kind of briefly explain it. So I took the same 8 stages, and as you grow, you want to know, who do you have that's at 10? Do you have anybody in your organization at 10? If not, your focus is on building your own FLA, FLQA. So you have FLQAs, right, to unlock certain levels, and then you have, FLAs are the agents that you have that you should focus on trying to help get into production, right? So,
AJ, can we widen that up a little bit or just make that
yeah,
bigger so it fits
yeah.
in?
I think, is that better?
Yeah, yep.
Right. So this is on the right hand side. This is just a place to keep track of how many lieutenants do you have, right? And so when I went, as you get bigger, this becomes more valuable, right? When I look at who do I have in my front line that has at least 10, and if you don't, your goal is to get your first lieutenant, right? So your first lieutenant, you get somebody to 10, they've proven that they're following the process, they're interested in this, and that's who you're checking in with. That's who you're scheduling weekly calls with, and making, holding yourselves accountable. I was thinking about this today when I went to the gym this morning with Mike. We both are back in Texas now. It's good to be stateside, by the way. And we did the cold plunge. Never want to do the cold plunge. Never, ever, ever do I go outside when it's 28 degrees and want to get in a freezing cold pool of water. It's not what I mean, but if you can talk yourself into doing it and staying in that water for 3 minutes, everything else you're going to do the rest of the day gets easier. And I was thinking about, man, if it hasn't been for having somebody to push me, like Mike always pushes me, I probably would skip that step, right? I'd just hit the gym, and maybe I wouldn't hit the cold plunge in the sauna afterward. And so, you start to identify your key people in your organization that you can run with, that want to be held accountable, and that they can push you, and you can push them. You're looking for those type of people within your organization, and then you want to create some type of rhythm where you're having conversations with them weekly. Don't, I always say, if you want to change something in your life, change something you do daily. If you're not having some type of communication with your organization, with the key people in your organization weekly, what are they out there doing? Either you're not being held accountable, right? So it's just you on your island, and then they're not being held accountable. And so, they're probably missing, they're probably not following the process as well. But if you can get those commitments, identify those people, and the wealth chart's just a place for this stuff to live. So, your first lieutenants at 25, captains at 50. And as you get bigger, you'll see, this is what happens. Your organization is no different. Gil, you have certain people that are at 200 now. You got some people that are out there running. They might be in level 2, level 3, level 4, but you got these people that have definitely seen the vision, right? And they're having success. And they have leaders in their organization that are doing the same thing. And this is just kind of a visual representation. And then, we created that. We don't call it the hit list. We call it the help list. Who are we trying to help today? Who wants to grow their business? Who are the people that are on my list? And then we have red zone. The red zone, we just use the red zone as like, when you have somebody that's like, man, I'm 80% sure I'm probably going to get this person. We think, hey, they're kind of on the 20-yard line. We just got to get them into the end zone. These are the people I think about first every single day. So I've got those people on the wealth chart on the wall over here to, every day I'm checking in until I get them to 100%. So that's your red zone. The people that you have that are interested, generally speaking, you should have already had a 3-way call with those people and a senior partner, and probably maybe have already scheduled another call or identified what needs to happen in order for them to make the move, and get them to fill out the application. But those are the people I think about every single day. And so, and then you've got the who do you have in onboarding? And then, so we put in this 10 years. So your goal for, each of these years. And so before it kind of stopped at 5 years, now it's 10 years because basically it was useless for me too. So I was like, well, we need to make this thing last a lot longer. So this is the wealth chart just for you to keep track of, the scoreboard, so to speak, as far as, where your people are, who you should be thinking about. And as you get bigger, it becomes more valuable. And if you look at, these 8 stages, your goal is 30 3-way calls. That's the, at 10 agents, your goal is to do 30 3-way calls. If you do 30 3-way calls, you're going to bust through to 25. At 25 agents, 75 3-way calls. And I think I have a half of that with your group, meaning at 25 agents, if you do 75 3-way calls and half of those are with you and one of the 25 and their recruits. Okay. Right. So like, you haven't recruited your first agent until you help someone recruit someone, right? If you recruited someone, you didn't recruit them until they've recruited someone too. So if you get everyone, I'm telling you that, I don't know, you guys tell me if this resonated. Like for me and for almost everybody I've seen this happen for, when you could get your first check that you didn't know you were going to get, and it came from agent attraction, it gets your attention, because anytime money just shows up and you didn't actually have to go do anything that day, I kind of like the way that felt. How do we make that happen more often, right? And so if you can get somebody to at least get that one friend, your chances of getting them to focus on this are 10 times greater. So we have to focus on making sure you get, plus they're less likely to leave, right? So making sure, hey, who do you know? Who can we get? Who can we get? Getting them to start the process, making their list and inviting people as soon as you can, so that they can get their friend to come over. Because everybody has a friend. That's a key component in starting to get traction. And those are going to be some of the people that get to 10. And that's literally what it becomes about. And what I see most people getting focused on is their own individual attraction, and they bring someone over and they never have done a three-way call. They never shared with them how to invite, the agent attraction training, getting them to follow that same process. So like, that's how you really, if you want to go take any, I don't care how many people, if you got one, you got two, you got 10, you got 20 people in your organization, getting them to follow this process is the fastest way to double your organization, right? And so, especially this time of year, people are no, I don't know anybody. That's why you're all here today. I don't know anybody that says, nah, you know what? I kind of don't want to have any passive income. I'm just, I'd rather just, have to go grind it out and sell houses for the rest of my life. I don't think anybody anybody that's been doing it very long does it. They know, okay, I'd rather have passive income if I could, or I'd rather have both, right? And so everybody should have a goal around agent attraction and understand where that focus should be. What's the leading indicator that's going to determine success? And that's, the 8 stages and the WealthChart are there as a reminder of where your focus should be. What's the leading indicator? If you're at 50 and you're trying to get to 500, it's three-way calls. What is the leading? That's the lagging indicator, right? Because you don't control the three-way call. The leading indicator is how many invites did your group of 50 people, or in this case, 25 people, how many invites did they send this week? And so that's where the focus is getting people to invite, So my focus this year is going back through my first and second and third levels. I'm looking for the people that are focused on agent attraction, and I'm trying to get my lieutenants to my first lieutenants to captains, and my captains to majors, and my majors to colonels. And that is literally, as you shift, again, this is talking to you if you're stage 3 and up, that's where your focus, that's where your attention, that's where your effort goes. In the beginning, it's all about who do we personally recruit. And then, on top of this, I think having a much, much better offer that we're providing value to the group makes it a no-brainer. It's 10 times easier to recruit to an offer that's where we're leveraging, our team to deliver on the value. So yeah, this is the real focus. Selfishly, guys, I just want to double my organization, but the only way I can do that is to find maybe 10 to 15 people within my organization that want to grow to 1,000. That's the only way I can do it. So I have to be focused on leading my group to do it. Go ahead, Gil.
Jay, I think about me many years ago before I ever recruited anyone. And I think to myself, man, Jay, that sounds great. It was cool listening to you. That was awesome. But I don't even got one person. Like, what the hell am I going to have a wealth chart with nobody on it? Right.
Right.
So can you talk about that? Because like, I definitely feel that insecurity that I went through back in the beginning when I was like, you know what? I'm going to get this piece of paper. I'm going to write some stuff on the wall. I'll be honest with you. On my chart, I had people's names on it. And I remember Bobby coming over my house and I wrote somebody's name down. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to write this guy's name down. He's never joining.
Right.
And then it was because, I almost feel like God has a sense of humor. Like, he's like, we went to an event and sure as shit, that motherfucker was there. Right.
Right.
And, and it was from that event that he ended up joining at an event that he happened to be on my wealth chart. And we ended up going to an event and he was there and I had to face the inevitable. That what you put into your heart and what you put into spirit and what you write down has a result, right? Mm-hmm. So the power of the wealth chart is to set up your manifestation of your desire in writing, which I just never understood how powerful that was, right? So if you have 0 people to have a piece of paper and say, here's my intention where it'll help me build the skills or put me around the right people to be able to execute on this and be able to look at that every single day, whether you believe in it or not, makes a difference. So let's talk about that person who's maybe doesn't have anybody yet, doesn't have a huge organization, have colonels and lieutenants and generals and all that stuff like that. Like,
Right.
what do they need to do?
Make a list. Starts with a list, and this is why that's why I started with it. Right? It's such a simple thing. It gets overlooked. Make your list. Make your list. Make your list. Make your list. If you haven't made a list, you haven't gotten serious about agent attraction. You're just jawing about it. You're not doing it. And so, and it's so powerful when you make that list and you start writing down that. And I did the same thing. Gil, you just described. I wrote down people's names. I'm like, they're probably never going to join, but they would be really good at this. Like they would really kill it. Right. Like and these are people I know, right? Like these are people I know. And some of them in the beginning, I reached out to, some of them I didn't. Obviously, I didn't make a big enough list because there was all these people that came over that are people that I've literally had helped grow their real estate businesses from scratch that joined and didn't join because they didn't even know I had joined. Right. Because I never reached out to them. And the big difference here is what we're inviting to is different. Okay. People can say, yeah, I already know about EXP. Yeah, I already understand it. Yeah, or I was already at EXP. Okay, well, you don't know about partnering with us because you have not seen what partnering with us looks like because it's not the same. It's not the same at all. And when you partner with us, there's way more value you get by partnering with us than just joining EXP. It's not even about EXP. In fact, the whole offer that we share today is not about EXP. And so it's about how you can leverage my team to help you grow your business. And that's a different game. And so they don't know what it is, no matter what the case is, and they're better. And when you have, I find that when you have a belief that that it's actually better for someone, that this reaching out and inviting is not hard at all. If when you're so enthusiastic about it that and I was like, it got to that point, and I had this aha moment, like everybody should be at EXP. I'm like, this is nuts. I bought in enough to join. I came and met everybody. It all sounds good or whatever, but I hadn't recruited anybody. And I was selling coaching. So I did these coaching calls and I accidentally sent out an email to a list of agents, filled up my calendar for coaching calls. And my goal was to sell them coaching at the end of those conversations. And at the end of every conversation, I kept going, man, if they would just partner with us at EXP, they wouldn't even have to pay me. And like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And that, but now my belief is like, you're better off being at EXP than anywhere. Now I feel compelled to reach out to people and be like, listen, if you listen, like you get so excited, you're like, listen, no, really listen to what I'm telling you. You have to watch this. Okay. And I would get that excited. And I'm loud. My wife tells me I'm always loud, but for the first 5 years, I'm literally, at this level of intensity and enthusiasm being like, listen, I'm going to send you this video. You're going to watch it. You're not going to believe it. And then it's going to sink in. Well, if this is all true, it's going to blow your mind. You're not going to be able to sleep. You're going to be literally pacing back and forth, thinking about why it's not going to work, why this can't be true. What is, it's like seeing a UFO. And when you share someone, because people say, well, I tried to send somebody the video, but they didn't watch it. No. How did you invite them? Were you enthusiastic? Did you deliver the message in a way that people would stop what they're doing and go watch it? Did you follow the script? Did you check in, and follow the 8-step invitation script, and check in 3 times and make sure, they committed to watching it when they committed to watching it by, or did you just follow your own little process, right? And so like all of these little details, I learned everything the hard way, guys. Like this was not like super easy for me. It was, I had some belief, some questions about whether it was going to work or not in the beginning. Anything could happen. They could change it this way or that way. This may or may not work. But once I believed and I conveyed that in my I became a better inviter. I became, I went from inviting, probably getting like 40% of people to watch the video to like 80%. Just by mastering the script and mastering the process for how I invited people and getting them enthusiastic about watching it, getting them to commit and then following up. And, where I learned the most was, I wasn't leveraging my senior partners that I could have been getting Brent Gove and some of these guys. And I did when, sometimes I got Brent, sometimes I got Gene, sometimes I got Rob Flick. But, what happens is people go through a process of trying to determine whether they're going to do this or not. And if they've only talked to one person, that's only one perspective. So this helps solve in the process of people going through their process for how they're going to make a decision. If you can get them to talk to three people and have three different stories, three different perspectives that are valuable, it helps their own due diligence process to make a decision, to finally move forward. And so, some folks are really good at this. I've got some people that are like, boom, schedule. I had somebody schedule one the other day with me, and it was Kyle Whistle, me, Chuck Fazio, and someone else. 4 calls and back to back to back to back. And all 4 of us had very compelling stories for this brokerage of 100 to move over. And guess what happened after those 4 calls? They were done. They were committed. And so, the better you get at leveraging your senior partners, the better you're going to be at recruiting. And as a senior partner, the better you get at teaching your group to do that. And when you start looking at your calendar and going, hell yeah, I've got 10 three-way calls today. And I remember, I'll never forget this. And I wish my calendar was this full today with 3-way calls. Is like, I would get done. It would be like, it was a marathon, a marathon of 20-minute 3-way calls all day. And sometimes it'd be 10 or 15 calls in a day. At the end of that day, I would go, "Ooh, man, that was a hell of a day." But I think I probably got 7 or 8 people to join that probably weren't ready to join until that call. If that call hadn't happened, I don't think it would have clicked for them. Right. And so, that's, as a leader, you got to realize that, when you're doing these 3-way calls, there's not a big magical science behind it. It's just, hey man, what are you trying to do? Let them talk, tell you what they're trying to do. And then, hey man, I think the math always works out better. You can get paid to be at EXP. If you're not getting paid to be at EXP, then you haven't really tried with agent attraction, because you don't have to do a whole lot in order for you to just be more than 100% of more than the 16,000, not counting the stock. Just in recruiting 6 people who recruit, 1 person each, you're at, 16,000 or whatever, right? Especially your first year is 4,000 per person. So if you're recruiting cappers, it happens real quick. But you should be getting paid to be here at EXP. And if you're not, you should focus on getting to that point. And then now it's all profit on top of that. So the math always works out. It's never the math that keeps someone from joining. It's, do they believe that they're going to go from their A, where they're at today, to whatever their B is? And is the vehicle that they're in a vehicle that's going to get them there faster, or is this a better vehicle? And it's not about changing brokerage. It's about, is this a Ferrari to get you to your goals, and you're in a Volvo, right, or whatever, right, whatever analogy you want to use there. But that's all you got to do is connect those dots. And at the end of those calls is amazing. It's amazing. If they consume the information they consume, they get on the 3-way call, it is teed up properly. At the end of that 20-minute call, people go, okay, well, what's the next step? I heard that. If I heard that, I knew we got them. And so, like, that's where you want your day to be spent. If be enthusiastic, invite, make your list first, get that process started. And if you're not scheduling 3-way calls with your senior partners, then you're not serious about agent attraction. And go ahead.
Hey, can you talk about that 8-step script? Because I don't think I've ever heard that before. And I'm a really good, first date.
I'm just be on my screen right now, actually. Believe
perfect.
it.
And I sometimes struggle on, like, well, I already called them 1 time. What do I say the second time, and then the 3rd time, and the 4th time? And we all know from listing process and buyer process, like, you got to take 5, 6, 7, 8 touches on some people to even have a shot at this. And agent attraction is no different, right? So if you could work us through that mental model, that would be incredible.
Yeah. I think most people need to have, 3 to 5 exposures of EXP before they're going to make a decision. Some of the time, in fact, a lot of times, the exposure will have been with somebody else and they said no, or they just didn't, they didn't have a process moving forward. And so, these exposures are 3-way calls with senior partners. How many exposures you get, the more of those that you do, the more likely they are to join. But this is the 8-step invitation script. And this is actually from like 2021, so we probably modified it a little bit. But this is like, if you go into Honey Badger Nation and search for this script, it's in there. So like all the documents and stuff are in there. And so I don't have much time here, Mike. But I've always respected you and how you do business. So the teaching behind this is, the first thing you say to someone is you pay them a sincere compliment, right? I think that might be in here. Maybe not. I have so many of these presentations I've done. I don't know which ones I've taken certain slides out, but the teaching behind this is, okay, here it is. Yeah. So it is right above it. So the first thing is be in a hurry. Okay. You're not trying to take up a bunch of their time. If you appear to be busy, then it creates a little bit of excitement. And then there's not this lull in the call, like where they start asking you questions. The goal is to be like, be in a hurry, give them a sincere compliment, make the invitation, use the if I would you, and I'll show you what that is in a second. Get the commitment for when they're going to watch it, confirm the time they're going to watch it. It's called the triple commit, and then get off the phone. So, hey, I'm so glad I got a hold of you. I'm super busy, but I'm about to head out for an appointment, but I'm glad I got a hold of you. I've really, Mike, I really respect you in how you do business. I've always looked up to you. And, let me ask you a question. If I could show you a way to add a new revenue stream to your real estate business, would you be open to it? All right. Simple as that. If I sent you a short video, if I sent you a short video explaining that opportunity, would you take a look at it? That's the if I would you. If I was to send you a short video explain how to do that, would you be open to watching it? Most people are going to say yes. Most people aren't going to be like, no, I'm not going to watch that. Right? Like, think about it. It's a question that you already know the answer to. If I do this for you, would you watch it? Right? If I would you. When I started doing this, following this script, this is when things really started to click. And in the beginning, whenever let's say somebody watches the video, I would make the mistake of being like, well, I would get this is me doing a three-way call for someone. And I'd be like, well, what did you think? Terrible question. Okay. Terrible question, because people think stupid shit all the time, and they will absolutely say something about what they don't like, or this or that or the other. They come up with their own reason in their head why they shouldn't do it. All this kind of stuff. So what did you like about what you saw? Great question. What did you like about what you saw? That is a question that forces them to look for what they liked about what they saw. Now we're moving in a direction that's positive, right? So these little things make a huge difference. So if I text you a link to the short video, explain the opportunity, would you take a look at it? If I could get one of the top guys in the company on the phone, would you be open to learning more? That's the follow-up. When they watch the video, and we use Rapid Funnel before, now we're using Go High Level, way better. I know I can see instantly. So I got a call today with a girl named Tracy Mackey. And I invited her before the holidays, like before Christmas, and I sent her the link to watch the video. I saw that she clicked on it, and then I saw that she clicked on it again. Then I saw that she watched 50% of the video. And so now I'm like, know you're watching it now. So now I know that, number one, you clicked on it. Number two, you actually spent half of the time, and this was an hour-long video. So I know you spent 30 minutes looking at it. So you're more interested than most people, meaning I did a pretty good job of inviting, because I got you to at least watch, the majority of it, right? So now I'm like, hey, I see you're doing your research. When do you want to jump back on a call? It enables me to know what to say when I'm following up with people. If somebody just clicked on the link and they say, and so the last part of this in the triple commit is when do you think you could watch it by? And it's not say, hey, do you think you can watch it today? Do you think you can watch it by tomorrow? No. You want people to come up with their own thinking when they think they can watch this by, right? So, when you come up with your own time, well, I could probably watch it for sure. My kid's got a soccer game tonight. I'll watch it tomorrow morning. And then so I say, okay, well, so if I called you on Wednesday morning, you for sure would have watched it by then. That's the third commitment. They committed 3 times. If I would you, they said yes. They committed a second time when I asked them, when do you think you should watch, when do you think you can watch it by? That's a commitment. They're in their own mind. They told you when they're going to watch it. And the third was whenever you confirmed that if I call you on this time, you for sure would have watched it. So they committed 3 times to watch it. This will send the percentage of people through the roof that actually consume the information. That's the key. And this is just, again, a skill set where you get better, right? Like, if you ever called FISBOs or expires and got hung up on, I used to get hung up on all the time until I got better, right? And started, oh shoot, this works way better than that. And you start learning things that work better. This script is the best script. Pay a sincere compliment in the beginning. Make the invitation. If I would you, get them to commit 3 times. Get off the phone, follow up. If they watch the video, they watch the video. What did you like about what you saw? If I could get you on a call with one of my senior partners, would you be open to jumping on a call with them to answer any of your questions? I remember Dan Hilsman, one of the things you never do is you never answer any of their questions after they've watched the video. You only schedule the 3-way call. And what happens is you get so excited somebody watched it, you want to start telling them everything you know about EXP. And or they ask you a question and you know the answer. So why shouldn't I just answer that question? No, you don't want to answer any questions. And I told Dan, don't answer any questions. And he took that so literal that it didn't matter what if somebody asked what color's the sign got to be, Dan was like, I know the answer to that. Should I answer it? And I was like, dude, we've done like 100 three-way calls. Like, I don't think I would answer any. I think keep following the process. Like, he's like, should I answer their questions if it's something little as that? I was like, I don't think so, man. I think this is exactly the right process. Whatever question they have, you know what? I got a guy, one of the top guys in the company. I can get him on a call. You're gonna love him. He loves people. He's good. He loves helping agents. He's great. He's great at at growing your business. You're gonna love him. If I could get you on a call with him, would you be open to it? Schedule the three-way call. This is the system. This is the process. And so, I know that if you're not doing three-way calls as a leader, or if you're not inviting to the webinar, then you're whatever you're doing is probably working less than this is what duplicates. I can teach a monkey how to do that, right? Like this is what duplicates. And if you get brought on this way and you say, man, that sounds great. I'd love to have revenue share, but I don't like recruiting. I don't even know how to do it. Like, you know how we brought you on? That's how you do it. Remember when you got on the call and you got on a call with Gil? Did you, I didn't have any of the answers. I didn't answer literally one of your questions. All I did was introduce you to someone. You think you could do that? Yeah. Well, yeah, I could do that.
And even if you didn't come in the way he's mentioning it, this is the way you're going to do it going forward. Right. So here's the deal. Some of you guys are saying, man, this sounds phenomenal, but I have never seen this stuff. Can I just share something with you that's been one fingertip away? honeybadgernation.com. I'm going to share right here and just kind of show off your tools here. It's available. I mean, Jay and his team has kind of made this available for anybody in his organization to be able to take advantage. And you can kind of go in here and you say, hey, man, I want to learn about everything about agent traction. You want to go click right there, and you're going to see all the videos that are there, all the tools, identifying your top 100, blah, blah. Let's just say you're just like me. I just want to cut the shit. I just want all the tools. I want them right now. You just press the button, export all media, send that shit all to your computer. It's going to take you 30 minutes because that's how big that library is, right? So, and I've got like super high speed internet. It's at 30 minutes to download, but just don't download it. Take some time to watch a video every single day and just improve on what you've got going on, right? Just make sure it's like, if I'm going to be an agent attractor, it needs to be part of your identity, right? If it's going to be part of your identity, I am an agent attractor, right? Well, you need to improve your skills, right? You have to know what to say to who. You want to learn about that three-way call? Well, the scripts are right there, inviting to a three-way call. You want to go deeper on the wealth charts? Right there, right? So like what I'm telling you is, everyone here at EXP, we've got the tools. There's no question about that. We are the absolute best real estate company in the world for many reasons. Not just because we're production oriented, and not because we've got incredible leaders. It's just there's so many reasons. We're helping agents change radically their entire lives, right? Because that's what sometimes one more deal will do for you, or 2 more deals, or 10 more deals, or 20 more deals, or building your organization by 1 more person, or 5 more people, or 50 more people. Right? If you're on this call, you're searching for something. And guess what? You found it. You went through all the X's, right? You followed the freaking chart all the way through the treasure map, and here's the X, right?
Yep.
It's right there, honeybadgernation.com. You want to go deep on agent attraction? You want to be an expert agent attraction? Go through that. I challenge you, watch all those videos and take some action. Get it. If you can't order the wealth chart fast enough, just get a piece of paper and tape it to the wall with duct tape. Right? Put it there with duct tape and start listing people's names and say, you know what? I'm going to be a professional inviter. That's it. That's all an agent attractor is. They're a professional inviter. That's why I call Brent Gove the BIG, Brent Invitation Gove, because that's all he talks about. In fact, he's coming to Orlando this Thursday. If you're in Central Florida, or if you're within a plane's distance of Orlando, dude, 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock in downtown Orlando, we're going to have an incredible event with Brent Gove. Just go on my IG. You'll see all the details inside there. But like, be an inviter. Brent Invitation Gove. Like, that's like, he's hot, man. I mean, the guy's got 20,000 people in his organization. And, he just taught people how to invite, who taught people how to invite, who taught people how to invite. That's all Jay's doing.
That's right? It. And by the way, your goal should be like, make that list and go invite 10 or 15 people to come to that event. Because if you do, the biggest lever you have is a live event. It works better than anything. So this is the daily process, but if you got a Brent Gove coming to town, you have the best opportunity that you've ever had. You make the list of your top 10 people you'd love to see recruit that you think would crush it over here, and you invite him to come watch Brent Gove. And at the end of that event, it's going to be really hard for people to be like, yeah, I don't think I want this. This isn't going to work. That's not what they're going to. They're going to be like, you didn't tell me about that. That's what it's going to be like. They will see so much. There's so much inspiration that comes from it. But this happened for you, Gil. I don't know if you remember when we were in the room in Las Vegas, and it wasn't a big group. It was like maybe 50, 70 people or something along those lines. And this was kind of the tipping point when you joined. And I remember
I do.
I remember I can't remember who was it. One of you guys talked to, ended up just standing on the wall next to Rob Flick and asked about revenue share. And well, Rob Flick was doing, probably, 250, 300, maybe 500,000 a month in revenue share. And it's just like, it's got to be like that same moment we talked about in production when you see like, what, like, how'd you do it? Right. And like, that's what happened for me when I went to, and I met Rob Flick and he showed me how much money I was making. I was like, tell me how you did that. I was like, well, I think I could do that. Right. And so like, you're talking about a life-changing opportunity, guys. The window is open. Gil, what you said at the beginning is exactly true. We are sitting on the heels of the two worst real estate markets we've had since 1995. It is only going to get better. If you have people in your organization and you have rev share, we had the most turnover of agents we'll ever have. It'll never be like that again. We've got the most number of agents right now that are open-minded to come into EXP. And I'm telling you, I talk to agents every single day, multiple agents with us, not with us. People are their number one choice if they had to change is to come to EXP. They're already thinking about it. Like they've been, it's been swirling in their head and they're just like, nothing else is working. If the right time, the message comes at the right time, these people are all coming over. And I'm seeing what feels like the momentum that we had, 7 years ago in terms of the quality of people that are coming over that are finally making the jump. People have struggled for 2 years. They're looking for something better. It's up to you to invite them to see what is different and how we can help them grow their business. And that's that we're sitting on an opportunity. Like the next 5 years is going to feel like the first 5 years that we were here at EXP. And so, and I can't say this window is going to be open forever. There's always going to be agents, 150, 200,000 agents that get licensed every year. There's always going to be the opportunity, but we're at 5% market share, something measly like that. Like the opportunity for us to grow by 100,000 agents is real. And it's palatable and it's all going to come down to who wants it. And there's going to be agents over the next 5 years that are making 7 figures in passive income and living their best life. And there's going to be people who regret having taken action on doing so. And like, I can't tell you enough how much this changed my life. Listen, I've worked my tail off for most of my life. 4 a.m., grinding and, just to get kicked in the balls and a market shift happens or whatever, you go back to zero, everything you saved, everything that you built. And I've been through that a couple of times. And this is worthy of your time. It's worthy of your effort. It's worthy of ignoring the other shiny objects. It's, go from 50 to 100 transactions. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Stay at 50 and focus on, I'm going to build an organization that's paying me 10 grand a month. And once I hit that number, I'm going to go to 20. And that's what'll happen is once you get to 5, you're going to be like, 5, that was okay. If I can get to 5, I'm going to 10. Right. And then once you get to 10, now everything in your life is paid for. And you're like, I don't have to go sell another house now at all. And it's not that difficult to do that, but it takes a daily focus. It takes a daily focus. And that is really the key, guys. And I mean it like in all sincerity. I hope you hear what I'm saying. Like, this is very much the time to do it. It's very much I look at operations. I live with billionaires in Puerto Rico. I'm back in the States now, but I live around all these really wealthy people. Okay. I'm the small guy down there. Okay. And when I explain to them EXP's model, when they ask, because you got to tell them, I'm like, okay, well, I'm at EXP and let me tell you how it works. And they're like, oh, damn, man, you hit the lottery. Like these people that build these huge companies are like, you know how hard it is to do what I had to do to get a little piece of margin. And when we share that, they're just like, they're jealous. They're jealous of this business model and the opportunity that we're taking advantage of here. And when you hear really smart people look at what you're doing and see what you feel like is what's true, that it just reconfirms like, man, you guys, we got a tiger by the tail here. It's, and here's the thing, 95% margin. I think I looked up the last what was it? The last since I've been at EXP, it's like my portion of revenue share has been over $18 million. That's insane. Okay. Now, what's even more insane is that of that 18 million, 95% of it was margin, my money. Meaning I didn't have to go for me to go make $1 million in real estate. To make $1 million in real estate, you know how much money I had to spend? When me and Mike had a $10 million coaching organization, for me and Mike to make $1 million, we had to do $10 million in revenue. You know how hard it is to do that? How many employees it took to do that? This is 95% margin. It's all profit. So that's a huge difference. And I've tried to build all these different businesses and tried to become more successful and do all these different things. And this is by far the most leverage. It doesn't take more people. It doesn't take more of your time. It multiplies. It exponentially grows if you do it right. And that is, I don't care what opportunities on your plate. This is the biggest one that I've ever seen, and that most of the smartest people I've ever talked to all agree. Again, this, Patrick Bet David built a life insurance company based on the same model. I mean, it sold it for whatever it was, a lot of money. But that, this is how you create, an opportunity, is you allow the best people that focus on it to make a lot of money. And that's what Glenn did. He said when he created this company and he created this business model, he goes, a lot of people are going to make a whole lot of money, but that's how we're going to grow the company. We create an opportunity so big that people are going to leave what they're doing and come over here and help us build this. And that's, we're all sitting right here with that opportunity. So don't
That's
take it
good
for
stuff.
granted. I know you're here. I
Yep.
appreciate you being here, but I
Yeah.
genuinely mean that from my heart. Like, this is the time to focus on it.
Yeah, that's the power of invitation. By the way, that's the power of great leadership. Thank you, Jay, for coming in here. By the way, you just helped me recruit somebody right now because you said something about, oh, they were with EXP before. So I was actually texting back before, and it was somebody who had been with EXP before. So I wrote down to him, and I know you've been at EXP, and I know you have been at EXP, but you've never partnered with me. And believe me, that's a different game. And her
Mm-hmm.
exact response was, okay, I'll come to the event.
Right.
So like, I appreciate you getting me one more
Team.
this morning. So listen, guys, it's like what we do is different. And you saw those tools, right? All you got to do is take advantage of the tools. Just go out there and do something. If you're not in Orlando, like let's do an event where you're at. Or in the meanwhile, give me a call and put me on a three-way call with wherever. I don't care if you're in Canada. Let's get on a three-way call together. Let me help you grow your business. Let Jay help you grow your business. Let Bobby help you grow your business. Let Vince let us all help you grow your business. And together we're unstoppable. That was the whole premise of One Big Fire, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like let's see you soon. Let's get to going. Be back here with a friend next week on the Gap Mastermind every Monday at 1 o'clock. Growth, action, and production. I'll see you guys soon. Take care.